This is Leah Myers of Myers Design Studio, and today we're going to do the really large half square triangle that makes up the heart of the Heart of Heroes quilt. Okay, so in order to cut these large half square triangles, I created a really large starting point, which is a 13.5-inch square, so that we have a lot of room. And I did it out of the pink. I cut out of the pink. Sorry, there's a little bit of protesting upstairs. Dogs. And 13.5 of the background. Yep. I hope you can't hear him. Sometimes my mic doesn't pick him up, but he's just a little angry. I don't know why. And I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to drive on, and I'm going to show you how I cut this. And this fabric is called, and I left a little bit of the selvage so I can remember, is called Studio 37 Fabrics Victoria Finlay Wolf Quilts. And it's called Meadow Storm. And I picked this color originally, way back when, because I am not a person who picks out fabrics that, to go with a project. I just buy fabric. I buy fabric and then I figure out what I'm going to do with it later. Some people like to, I think there's like two sets of buyers. Some buy fabric and they do it for a project, and then there's some people that say, I like that fabric, I'm going to buy it. And I buy about two yards, the minimum. 1 yard, sometimes if it's really in a scarce supply. But usually I pick up 2 at a time if I don't know. The more the better, because sometimes if you find something you want to do, something with, then you might want to pick up more than 2, maybe 3. But my fabric stash would be extremely giant if I had 3 yards at a time. But I usually just buy 2 at a time, and it works okay for me. Let me find my cutter. And what I've done, this is a strip of fabric. I cut a strip of fabric off the bolt with the fabric. I cut it 13.5 inches wide to make a big strip, right? And so I took that strip and I folded it in half because I find this is just a little more manageable when I cut a 13.5-inch square. And the first thing you want to do, and I'm going to flip this around a little bit because I've got to remember to cut my selvage off, right? And I want this to be exactly together. But I find if I fold it in half this way, it's a little easier to manage than to do it the other way. And I'm going to move my sewing machine stuff over so I have room for my ruler. And find the 13.5 inches. I'm going to move this over too. Maybe not off the table. That would be bad. But, sort of my style, I guess. And I got to cut the selvage off first. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. I'll get myself situated here. 13.5. I try to cut these videos down so that they're like kind of manageable. I'm going to grab my little one if it's around. Yeah, it's right here. I'm going to cut my selvage off with this one. I use this little guy so much. All right. And I've got my big ruler out. Okay, selvage is off. Throw that out. And what I do is I pick it up, hold it really well, and I just flip it around. And I make sure when I do that I have it. And this is just one 13.5-inch strip, okay? So, and I take my bigger ruler, which is very big, and I have to give myself a little more room. Hopefully that doesn't fall to the ground. But anyway, so this is how I do it. And now I cut my squares out of that strip. And that's why I need to stand up just slightly because, all right. And now I just cut the squares out. And what I find is I can get three out of this strip. 3 13.5-inch squares. So you cut 2 13.5-inch strips of each of the colors, of the pink and of the background. And I just do it this way. I fold it in half. I make sure it's all straight. You can do it however you like, but for me, getting this exactly, and I like to follow the lines on my ruler, getting this exactly 13.5 isn't super important because I've given you a little room with the 13.5 inches, because these are going to be 12.5-inch square, or 12.5-inch half square triangles at the end. So if there's any bad cutting in this end, you've got room to do something with it. So see, I'm getting 3. That was 2. This will be my third one. And I didn't put this in the instructions, but I did tell you on the video. So if you want to write a note on the instructions and say this is how she cut them, she cut 2 13.5-inch strips, and then that's how much I have left over of the 13.5 inches. So anyway, so now that we've got these 13.5-inch strips, I'm gonna put my ruler to the side here. I can put these guys back. Okay. I grab one of the background. They're just huge. These guys are so big. Yeah, I wanted to write it the pattern a little bigger, and I didn't want you to like try to set triangles and sew them individually. I thought, let's just do the half square triangle method and do it that way instead. Make it easy. And it turned out really well. This is really lining up great. That is awesome. So now, of course, you guys know, you put the pencil line through. Let me grab my pencil, sorry. I try to have all my stuff ready to go, and I'm going to use this giant roller. You don't have to have such a giant roller, but I make a lot of bags. My favorite designer of bags are by Annie. I love her. I also make bags too, design bags. We'll do some on the channel one day. I will break out my patterns that I've created, and then I pin. Since this is so large, on the instructions, it looks like a tiny little square, and I drew in a little pin. I would pin a lot more than I have on my instructions, but it gives you an idea of what to do next. And then I go ahead and I start sewing on the sewing machine that we're still using, the Singer 319. And I'll be right back and we'll start sewing. So I'm about to wind the bobbin, and I don't know if anyone, if you haven't had an antique machine before, this is kind of cool. I started my segment, and my bobbin went out. It ran out, so I thought this would be a neat place to show you how this actually operates. It's really neat. So you put the thread through this little tension disc, right? And I just kind of floss it through. Then you put the thread inside this little hole, and this looks a lot like my Sweet 16 holders. And then you line it up with the little notch on the other side. You click it down, push down that lever. And what I do is I hold this. I also hold the thread. Oops. Make sure the clutch is disengaged. You turn that inner knob a little bit so that the needle doesn't go up and down a whole bunch. And then you put your foot on the pedal, if I could find it. There we go. Oh, somehow. Okay, I'm out of the notch. I must have. Let me see if I can get it to engage. Shoot. All right, get the notch. Where's that notch at? I had you. Oops, stop pressing the pedal too, might help. Oh, come on. There we are. We got you. You're in there. Now stay in there. Don't. Okay, so I think what I was doing is I was holding this thread so tight. I got it out of there. There we go. Woo! And that little slot on the inside, it actually cuts the thread. And that's the way my 16 is too. And I could go faster than that. And that is how, oops. Ooh, you're not winding very much. Oops, it fell out of the little notch again. Dang. All right, guy. You stay in there. You can't wind if you don't stay in there. Okay. Anyway, that is how... Oh, I did it again. Oh. What I think I'll do is while this is winding, I got to find that notch again. It fell out. So you hear it click? What I'll do is I'll just kind of gently hold it in like that so that it won't slip out. What? I don't know if that's going to work. There we go. Oh, let me try it. Okay, maybe this. There we go. Maybe something that's not going to hold it sticky. Okay, here we go. There we go. It's staying in the notch. We'll get there. For some reason, it's not wanting to stay, but I'm going to make it stay. So now it's full. Anyway, I thought you'd like to see that. Got there in the end. Use the edge of my scissors. Anyway, I'm going to start sewing these in a minute, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm ready to sew this. Now that I've wound a bobbin, that was kind of neat. There's a little notch that kept getting undone, and I still have a thread in there. Okay, just follow the pencil line. Oops. Sounds like I need to get a new needle in here too. Oops. Yep, we're doing good. And then sew on the other side of the line. It's a little wonky there. I don't really have to hold the threads with this thing. This machine's rather nice. So, okay, get that. Yeah, press the pedal. Okay. Got some threads in the way. They're just sitting on top. It's fine. There we go. All right, and we're done. We're going to cut these guys apart. Okay, now I'm going to take my pins out and then I'm going to do this a little bit at a time and cut these two apart on the pencil line right there. Cut these two apart just a little by little. There we go. And now, I'm going to iron these to the dark side. All right, now just iron these to the dark side. And we'll be done with this block. Okay. So, got to set the seam. Eventually, I'll twirl it around the right direction. Right. And then we'll square these up to 12.5. Oh wait, square them up first. Stop. Hold on. Gotta square them up to 12.5 first. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. I'm like, yeah, I want to get done. I always tell you guys, slow down. Don't get in a hurry. So that is what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to slow down, grab my huge ruler. I went to one extreme to another, right? I went to one small ruler, and then I went to a huge one. So this one has a 45-degree angle somewhere. There it is. And I just have to find that. And this is a 12.5-inch, I think, ruler. It is a 12.5-inch ruler, so that's perfect. So all I have to do is put that on the stitch line and probably move this over here so that I can do this the other way, because, I'm just going to put it right back where I had it. All right, where's my, here it is, 12.5, this is my 45, and you'll see it on a roller, it'll say 45 degrees right there. But I pretty much just look for the line. Okay, so I want it to be on the end. I want it to be on the end so that I can, so which one did that have on the end? Yeah, here we go, because I don't want to have to reposition this twice. There's a 45 right here. This is a 12.5-inch ruler. And see, I gave you a bunch of room, about a 1/4 of an inch. So if you didn't put the squares on exactly, you wouldn't stress, oh no, it's not 12.5 inches. So I wanted to give it some room here, okay? I'm gonna stand up and square this up. Square up, then iron. Yes. And they're huge, huge triangles, huge triangles, but that is fine. Let's do the other one. Now that I have everybody in the right area, I'm going to do it on the pink so I can see that a little better. And it's a 45. And most of us have I have one upstairs, is a 12.5-inch square. And you can use that too. I'm just using the big roller to square up. So I went from a really tiny ruler, how to square up a triangle, to a large one. But, always using that 45 degree, that degree thing. Yeah, I apologize for my dogs. It is almost time for them to eat. And I will get to them. I just gotta be patient. The dogs aren't patient, are they? They're like, it's now. Anyway, so that is 12.5 inches square. I squared 2 of them up. And now I iron to the dark side. Get my little iron, put my ruler away. Now they're 12.5 and they're ready to go. And you do, there are 6 of these pairs, you'll get 12 at the end. So, and if everything goes well, it'll be 12.5 inches and iron to the dark side. Yes. And then you're ready to set the heart. And this is what makes the heart, is this pink color that makes the heart. Yes. And that is it. And then you just set these aside and then make the other block 3. That'll be next. Block 3. And I've kind of alternated simple blocks to more complicated blocks, so that while you're still working on the leaf blocks, you can, finish these quickly. So it's not as stressful as far as the design, so you don't have everything so complicated that you're like, I just want to throw this out the window. like when you get done with a quilt, you're like, oh, I'm sick of it. Yeah. Or never again. That's another one. When we say never again, we're not going to make that again. Or I want you to make this again. That's why I kind of alternated some blocks that are, more complicated and some simple. So you're not, overwhelmed with all complicated. So now we've done the 2 half square triangles and we are ready to set these aside, and you do, there are 12 of these. There are 12 of these, and we did 2 at a time. So there's 6 of them that we did right away. So that's really quick. So that makes the outside heart. Anyway, I'll see you next time with our block 3. And I'll demonstrate that for you and get that pattern out for you to start. And I appreciate you guys listening or watching, listening, watching. I've got to go feed dogs now, so evidently they just need to be fed, and I've got to go. But I hope you enjoyed this quilt, and I hope to see you next time. I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.